To another one of our top stories tonight, we are digging deeper into the motion filed Mario Fernandez Saldana by him and his attorneys. He is the man accused of killing his wife's ex-husband, Jared Bridegan. His attorneys claim the state attorney's office distributed communication that should have been protected by attorney-client privilege.
And they're requesting the state attorney's office be disqualified from prosecuting the case. But what falls under that privilege and how does it impact his wife, Shanna Gardner's case? Riley Phillips is on your side tonight. She is joining us live now with some answers. Riley.
Yes, one of the attorneys I spoke with says the biggest thing here is whether the communications Fernandez's attorneys filed are actually confidential and they actually fall under the attorney-client privilege. He says just because something is labeled as confidential does not always mean that it contains information that is covered by the attorney-client privilege.
It's really important for the public to know that if they talk to a lawyer, it's kept confidential.
Attorney-client privilege is the cornerstone of any attorney-client relationship. This means whenever a client and attorney are talking about the case or their strategy, those conversations are protected. But Curtis Fallgetter, a former U.S. prosecutor, says there are conversations that don't fall under the attorney-client privilege, like scheduling matters.
There are times where those conversations are in the presence of third parties, which destroys the privilege.
In the motion filed by Mario Fernandez, his lawyers claim the state's attorney's office obtained and distributed texts and emails with privileged information. They said there were emails labeled confidential communications and at least 66 privileged communications were uploaded to an online portal called NextPoint, which more than a dozen people had access to. Fallgetter says it'll be up to the judge to decide if those confidential communications actually contain privileged information.
If it's a conversation about, hey, who's going to work on my case, or what time you want to meet with me, those are not going to be privileged. It's only when they're talking about the facts and defenses in the case.
The motion also claims communication between Fernandez's wife, Shanna Gardner, and her attorney were uploaded to the portal. Attorney Janet Johnson, who's not part of this case, says this could impact Gardner's case.
Each party is restricted in terms of any confidential privilege that applies, and they shouldn't have access to anything that's confidential between their attorney and their client, or the other party's attorney and their client. So I think it is going to be problematic.
And the state's attorney's office said they are filing objections to this motion. A judge will ultimately decide whether the state attorney will stay on this case or whether a new one will be appointed. But Curtis Fallgetter brought up a good point today when I spoke with him. He says no matter what the judge decides, there will be a trial in this case. This motion does not stop this case from moving forward. Live in Jacksonville, Riley Phillips, First Coast News on your side.